out of the SEC. Record crowds on back-to-back days. They broke their own record, 2632 in the building on Friday, and 47 more, 2,679 for yesterday's game. Starting lineup for James Madison, brought to you by Capital One. They have been quiet so far. Only 2 players with more than 1 hit here in Columbia. The team hitting 146. Carol, that starts in the leadoff spot.
And Kate Gordon needs to have a big game today and step up for her team. 18 home runs on the season. Second on the team in hitting. Has not had a stellar postseason performance. But today really comes down to this game and this game only.
And it's Jordan Weber in the circle, looking to continue her mystifying performances against opposing teams.
Yeah, she has been tough and dialed in the postseason. You're going to see her work the upper half of the zone, mainly with the rise ball. Spin, spin, and more spin, and that spin makes her very deceptive. The ball looks like it's coming in a lot harder than it does. Gets a lot of hitters off balance.
Weber and Gordon. Strike one gets us underway. On the call from Brett Higgins behind the plate. Well, Gordon had a really good start to her postseason, and that was in the CAA tournament, where they played 3 games, and in each of those 3 games, she hit 2 home runs. 18 on the year, but just 2 for 17 in the NCAA tournament.
Missouri's had a lot of luck getting Gordon to pop out. They've been working the outer part of the plate the entire Super Regional. It's been very successful so far.
Gordon, for the 3rd time in her career this year, was named first team All-Colonial Athletic Association. Their best hitter, Lauren Laporte, her head coach, wants her to get the most at-bats, and that's why she's at the top. Laporte in her 9th season with the team, 4th year as the head coach, 3rd straight year as the league's coach of the year, with her team 38-2. It had been more than 2 months since their last loss, a doubleheader in late March against Elon.
Well, so far, this is one of the best at-bats we've seen Kate Gordon have in the Super Regional. Has really battled, anticipating that pitch on the outer part of the plate.
Imagine we'll see perhaps several more at-bats like this as we go through this game, with pitchers and hitters gaining familiarity throughout the course of the weekend.
No, there's no surprises anymore. There's no secrets. You know, Missouri's been going with their 1-2 punch in the postseason with Weber and Lauren Krings yesterday. Also had a 10 strikeout performance.
Third foul back to the screen from Gordon here in this game-opening at-bat. And the choice for who is going to start today, it's a win-win proposition for Larissa Anderson.
Yeah, the depth in the postseason. Jordan Weber, Lauren Krings have stepped up their game. Just a small amount of hits, lots of strikeouts in the postseason. And not that they weren't performing at a high level throughout the season. They certainly were in the regular season, but it's been a different level of performance for Missouri in the circle. They've had a strong offense all season. Their defense is in the top 10 in the country, and now that their pitching staff has elevated their game, this is a tough team to beat.
Weber will have at least 10 pitches to Gordon here to start things off. Missouri finished 10th in team ERA in the SEC during the regular season, just 3 runs in 34 innings here in the NCAA postseason. Weber in the regional round, a 1-hitter and a no-hitter. And in game 1 of this series, a complete game, 3-hit, 2-run performance, won by JMU. And this leadoff at bat, won by Jordan Weber. She starts with a strikeout.
And Weber did not give in despite Kate Gordon battling and battling throughout that at-bat. Goes back to the rise ball, up and away from Gordon for the strikeout.
Her first game, struck out 9 here in the Super, walked just 1 for 108 pitches in that game. James Madison's number 2 hitter is the shortstop, Sarah Jubis. Lauren Laporte told us she's one of their most clutch players, especially in the postseason. But just 1 for 6 here in Columbia, out in front of an off-speed pitch. No balls and 2 strikes.
And that's what Jordan Weber can do to you. Her ball is not straight. It's not a true rise ball spin, so it's tough to square up. You don't really know which way it's going. Makes her very effective.
When Weber faced James Madison on Friday in the series opener, she held them 0 for 19 at the plate through 6 innings. Just 2 base runners in those 6 frames, a walk and an error. And then 3 hits and 2 runs that decided the game in the top of the 7th. Back-to-back strikeouts. 2 up, 2 down.
Jordan Weber is dialed in. That's 2 batters in a row. It's an outside low rise ball, really running away from the James Madison hitters. And that's something we have seen from Jordan Weber in this Super Regional, not giving in to the middle of the plate at all, really stretching the corners.
Odyssey Alexander was the first to crack the code against Weber, a leadoff 7th inning single in the series opener. As she steps in here with the bases clear, top of the 1st.
And if I'm James Madison, Weber doesn't really go to her off speed a lot. It's not a very effective pitch for her, so you're looking to drive something hard.
And Alexander with a flare to left center field. Caught by Wilmus. A 1-2-3 first for Weber. And Alexander steps into the circle on the other side.
2 home runs yesterday, rewarded, bumped up a spot. Hey, take your hottest hitter and put him in that cleanup spot. Larissa Anderson making that adjustment today.
And another question coming into this game, which Odyssey Alexander will we see, that of Friday or yesterday?
Well, and there's no doubt who was going to get the ball in the circle for James Madison, and that is Odyssey Alexander. She throws gas consistently around 70 miles an hour through the entire game. Does have an effective off speed she's added this season. You're mainly going to see her work up in the zone, rise ball, curveball, screwball combination.
Brooke Wilmus leads it off against Odyssey Alexander, who yesterday threw just 39 pitches in an inning and 2/3, as the Mizzou lineup had her number early on. Wilmus a big contributor to that with a 3-run homer, her 12th long ball of the year.
And she is such a catalyst for this Missouri offense. Really sets the tone. You saw that hack she took just a moment ago. Does not get cheated on her swings. Very explosive swing.
A hard rip, foul up the first baseline. 1-2 on the senior from Johnston, Iowa. Her head coach, a native New Yorker, Larissa Anderson, like George, was at Hofstra for nearly 2 decades, the last 4 as the head coach. 2 NCAA tournaments at the helm there with the Pride. And now here has her Mizzou team in year number 3 in Supers.
You can't say enough about Coach Anderson and what she has done for the Missouri program. She took over at a time when this program was a little bit under a black cloud, had a postseason ban, and here she has them 1 game from the Women's College World Series.
We had an abrupt head coaching change a couple weeks before the start of the 2018 season. She came in 2019. And this ball cranked out to right. It's out of here. Brooke Wilmes goes yard on back-to-back days. 1-0 Mizzou.
Talk about setting the tone early for your team. This ball left over too much of the middle of the plate. Brooke Wilmes makes Alexander pay. The Missouri team is on the board early. And Brooke Wilmes, with 1 swing of the bat, gives Missouri the 1-run lead.
And earns multiple adorations in the dugout. A flag, a hat, and a lot of high fives for the senior who gives her team a 1st-inning lead. Well, she hit home runs in the regional round that almost surprised her in a way, she said. 3 home runs in those 3 games here in Columbia. Didn't think she'd ever done that before. And continues to set the tone for what has been one of the nation's best offenses all year.
You cannot leave the ball near the white of the plate, in the middle of the plate against Missouri. They are in the top 10 nationally in so many slugging categories, power categories, and Odyssey Alexander comes right back and strikes out Laird.
The catcher, number 31, Hattie Moore.
So the SEC Freshman of the Year, Jenna Laird, is down on strikes. 1 out, brings up another senior, Hattie Moore. While her offense has not been the story of the postseason, she certainly deserves a lot of credit for her work behind the plate and what she's done to help mentor a young pitching staff.
Well, she has been the leader and is such a student of the game, as Coach Anderson mentions. And because she's a catcher, just has a different approach to her hitting, can really pick out the pitcher's spin and anticipates what's going to be thrown. And that's a win-lose for a catcher. Sometimes you can get in your head too much about that. You want to just be able to react when you're in the batter's box. But for Hattie Moore, it's an asset for her. She's hitting over 500 in the NCAA tournament.
So another home run for Mizzou after 3 yesterday. If indeed they win this game and advance to the Women's College World Series, they're going to be amongst a very powerful contingent that'll be there, led by Oklahoma. Arizona has already qualified, and Oklahoma State will play Texas later on today. Solo homer to start. Back-to-back strikeouts from Alexander.
You gotta love that from Odyssey Alexander. What do you do? Outs after damage. What do you do? Gave up a home run, comes right back with a curveball for the strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts. Odyssey Alexander has been there, done that. She's an experienced veteran in the circle. And she did something against Brooke Wilmes that we really did not see on Friday night, and that is leave a pitch over the middle of the plate.
Well, the first home run yesterday for Kayla Kessinger was a pitch from Alexander that was up in the zone in her wheelhouse. She drove it. She drives this out to right center field. Sullivan is quickly over to get it. Kessinger with a single.
Kessinger is swinging the bat with so much confidence right now. It's another pitch left over the middle of the plate by Alexander. And when you are playing Missouri, you better use all 17 inches of that home plate, or they are going to square the ball up and keep the hit parade going.
The flip-flop in the lineup today put Kessinger in the leadoff spot, or in the cleanup spot rather, and put Kim Wirt here batting fifth. And Carol, when you get to this point in the season, you don't see all too many lineup changes. What is it about a coach's intuition that makes Larissa Anderson say, I need to move my 4 and 5 hitter?
Well, there's nobody that knows their team better than Coach Anderson at this point in time in the season. But, you know, it's who's your hottest hitter? Who's making good contact? Who's getting ahead in the count, taking advantage as a hitter of those quality pitches you're getting from the pitcher? And Kayla Kessinger, you know, she's been there, done that as well, moving that 4, 5, 6 spot around. You're just looking for the best combination, and you want that hottest hitter to get the most at bat. So Kessinger's rewarded with the 4 spot today.
Wirt has had a couple of long drives that have gone foul down the left field line over the course of the series, as she's still in search of her first base hit. Somebody's going to have to get up on a ladder to retrieve a few foul balls that have ended up on the top of that building down the left field line. Alexander with a 1-2, tails away, and the count goes even on the senior third baseman. All the way to the backstop. Kessinger takes second on Alexander's wild pitch.
Well, so important for James Madison to keep the score down. Missouri's pitchers have been dealing the entire Super Regional. And yesterday, the game got out of hand because of that 6-run inning from Missouri.
That's ball 4. 2 on for Missouri as they have something brewing. Already 1 run across in the first. Alexander yesterday, in an inning and 2/3, gave up 6 runs, only 1 of them earned. Friday, she walked a season-high 6 batters. 4 of those came in 1 inning. And this inning could be dangerous, or it could be over quickly. That'll be up to Cassidy Shomo and Odyssey Alexander to decide.
Yeah, for James Madison, and despite the leadoff home run, if you can get out of this inning only down 1 run, that's a little bit of a mental lift for JMU. And for Missouri, as we have seen yesterday, they can pour it on. Really put the game out of reach yesterday early.
Shomo went 2 for 3 with a couple of base hits. Transfer from Louisiana at the plate, sat out last year as a redshirt after playing her first 2 years with the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. A 1-1 pitch. Alexander gets ahead again. 2 out and 2 on.
this is where JMU needs a big performance from Alexander in the circle. She's in the top 10 in ERA in the country, knows how to keep the score down.
Well, with her doing a lot of work in the circle this year, they finished the regular season again just with one loss and a 1.40 ERA, good for 5th in the country. And Alexander was not active all year. She missed about a month with a hamstring injury. And here on the biggest stage of all, she does strike out the side, but to start things off for the second time in as many days, Brooke Wilmus sent one over the fence.
Brooke Wilmus with an absolute blast. Missouri up 1.
Played softball. Still one more game to go after us. 4 Eastern on ESPN. It'll be Texas and Oklahoma State. The Longhorns 0-2 in previous game 3s. That's it, just like this game, season on the line.
And that's going to be, these teams have played each other multiple times all season long, but this is the one that matters the most right here, right now in Stillwater.
Longhorns trying to get to OKC for the first time since 2013. And for Oklahoma State, it will be their 9th trip. Mike Cousins, Carol Bruggeman with you. You're from Columbia, Missouri. The winner of this one will be one of 8 teams in the Women's College World Series. 1-0 Missouri after 1. Logan Newton, the only left-handed bat in the lineup. We'll see more than one pitch after Hattie Moore drops that about 25 feet up the first base line.
Yeah, tough catch for Moore. You can see she's drifting, doesn't feel real confident, and always tough to do a little basket catch. It hits her on the heel of the glove. And, you know, with the first baseman playing back, Robbie's playing behind the base. Where Hattie Moore was the only one who really had the opportunity to make that catch.
And now on the 3rd day of this series as well. We started in un-Memorial Day weekend-like conditions with a temperature that felt like it was in the 40s on Friday. Rain joined the picture for the final couple innings as well. 3rd strikeout for Weber in the first 4 batters. And then yesterday, we had an evening first pitch as the sun set beyond the left field foul pole, and today, an 11 o'clock local start time.
Absolutely gorgeous day for softball. And we've just seen the fans come out in droves here in Columbia for both games. And again, early on a Sunday.
Mayorkas with a similar pop up the first base line. This time it's Robbie who's got a much easier route to the ball. Jordan Weber is now going to be vying for back-to-back 1-2-3 innings. She has looked today as she has in her previous postseason starts.
Well, nobody has squared up the ball yet for James Madison. All strikeouts and fly ball outs. Those are the easiest plays on defense. With a fly ball out, only one player has to make the play. I like to see James Madison really line the ball, hard ground balls, just try to make something happen, force Missouri to play defense.
Lindsay Meeks is the heart of this team. First team All-League. The redshirt junior from Ohio. And prior to this year had started just 15 games, a starter in all of them this year. As James Madison saw their nation-leading winning streak come to an end yesterday at 28 games. The longest winning streak in the country now belongs to Alabama, as they've won 18 straight. Headed to the Women's College World Series for the 13th time.
Lots of swings and misses, lots of fly ball outs. Jordan Weber working the outer half of the plate. If I'm James Madison, I would get right on the plate and really drive that ball to the opposite field. But she has lived on that outside corner, and you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so to speak. I mean, she's going to keep going to that part of the plate until James Madison makes an adjustment.
Who needs to pass that message down? Is it elder players to younger players, coaches to players?
Every hitter, you know, every at-bat, you're sharing that information. You know, where's she working? Working me outside. Everybody's passing that information along. But every hitter, you come back, they're talking to their team, especially the next batter up. You know, you don't want to keep that a secret. You want to share that information.
Number goes 3-2 with 2 out. Looking to retire 6 straight to start the game. Part of a pitching staff that's allowed just 3 runs in 34 innings coming into this game. A check swing, Meeks, who led the CAA in walks, has one here and is James Madison's first base runner of the afternoon.
It just shows such good plate discipline. It's her 38th walk of the season. Keeps her barrel back and draws the walk. And she is the ringleader of this team. She's the energy. See her, a couple claps over to her dugout.
Allie Hall, the Illinois native, deposits that into the Missouri bullpen along strike 1. And the redshirt sophomore has had a big full first season. She redshirted in 2019 and only played in 8 games last year in a pandemic-shortened 2020 campaign. The picture of dominance for Missouri pitching over the first 2 games, and add on today's totals as well, is 22 strikeouts, and that walk by Meeks was just the second for the Dukes. Very unusual for a team, Carol, that both on offense and pitching had one of the best strikeout to walk ratios at the Division I level.
You know, a lot of times you see a team, if there's a team that has more walks than strikeouts at this time of the year, you're turning your head. And James Madison, very good in that category. And on defense as well. I mean, their pitchers don't give up a lot of walks. Had a lot of strikeouts throughout the season. When you can do that, you just give yourself more base runners, more opportunities to score.
Popped up and potentially playable at the dugout. Wirt puts it away. The inning is over. The Dukes from Harrisonburg, Virginia are
Texas with some big home runs in the 6th inning. Should be a fun battle today in Stillwater.
Oklahoma State has 4 players with at least 13 home runs. Expect to see at least a few leave the yard later on today. Bottom 2, Missouri leads 1-0 on a Brooke Wilmes leadoff solo home run into the stands in right. The bottom 3rd of the order for the Tigers begins with the first baseman, Emma Robbie. Missouri, the number 8 national seed in this year's tournament. And Robbie, a hard liner, good contact, but directly into the path of Kate Gordon.
No, you want to have a quality at-bat every time you set foot in the box. And even though Robbie doesn't end up on base, she's making a statement to the rest of her team and to Odyssey Alexander. You know, hey, we're going to square this ball up 1 through 9 in the lineup. So I would consider that a quality at-bat.
Starts with a strike on Kendall Bailey, one of 3 in the starting lineup for Mizzou, entering this game looking for their first hit here in the Super Regional. Alexander, the CAA Pitcher of the Year, unloads an 0-1. That's popped to short. And she has quickly retired the first two Tigers. This week's Sunday Night Baseball game, the series finale between NL East rivals Freddie Freeman and the Braves take on Francisco Lindor and the Mets. Coverage starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app with Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. 2 up, 2 down. Abby George, one of 4 left-handed hitters for Larissa Anderson's squad.
Look how the defense has adjusted with Abby George. She only has 1 extra base hit on the entire season, so the defense is shortening the field, trying to take away the short game, the bloop hit.
And all the outs that she's recorded so far in the first 2 games have come on ground balls to third, short, and back to the circle.
And you're going to pitch into that shift as well. So you're seeing Alexander right now pitch middle to, well, outer half of the plate, trying to feed that defense on the left side. Jubas over toward third base. Meeks third of the way up the line, just really trying to feed that defense on the third base side.
Slow roller. Meeks charges. Her throw is late. George has a 2-out infield single, even when the defense knew what to expect.
And that is what speed can do for you. As you mentioned, everybody in the ballpark knows what she's trying to do, but the ground is your friend if you are a slapper, and that ball had just taken just enough pace off the ball where George could beat it out for the single.
George, fast as she can be, up the line, and it turns the lineup over. Second at bat for Wilmus. 3 hops to Nyokas. The inning is over. Alexander faces just 4 in the second inning. 1-0 Mizzou. On to the third.
For Missouri,
Missouri trying to win and advance to the Super Regionals. A little bit of glove work for the Tigers. No-hitter for Weber, Missouri to the Supers.
Jordan Weber has been sensational in the postseason. Her no-hitter was Mizzou's first in the postseason since 2011. Chelsea Thomas threw one also to win a regional. Also threw a 1-hitter in the first game of the regional. And that has just continued here into Supers, Carol.
Yeah, took her team to the Super Regionals, has a chance today to take her team to the Women's College World Series. Gave up just 1 hit in 13 innings in that entire regional.
The staff overall, 2 hits total in 3 games in the regional. And that carried all the way through the 6th of game number 1 with Weber in the circle until JMU exploded, relatively speaking, for 3 hits. It's a bit of a bookend as well for Weber, although the Tigers certainly hope this is not the end of the season for them. But with the way she started the year, she took a no-hitter into the 6th in the first game of the year against Memphis, all the way back 2 days before Valentine's Day, and then had a 1-hitter against FAU on February 21st.
Now we have yet to see a line drive ground ball from JMU. All strikeouts, all fly ball outs. very difficult to score runs with a lot of pop flies, strikeouts. Got to find a way to square the ball up, keep their barrel high in the zone, some line drives.
Well, Burnett gets some soft contact. Shummo on the jog. Sends the catcher back to the dugout, one down here in the third. Three strikeouts thus far. Michelle Sullivan, the last to come to the plate for JMU. Hitless here in the postseason with 3 strikeouts in 5 at-bats. The winner advances to the Women's College World Series. Missouri trying to get there for the 7th time. For James Madison, which has been very close before, it would be their first appearance.
I like what I'm seeing from Jordan Weber, now working both sides of the plate a little bit more, tucking that pitch on the inside corner. And when you can throw a rise ball at different levels, you know, makes it tough for the hitter. You might think you've got a kind of a beat on the height of a low rise ball coming in. The very next pitch, she's going to elevate it another couple inches. So and she's going to live on that rise ball, but it's at different levels, so it's like throwing 3 different pitches.
And as you alluded to earlier, there was Weber's strength of working the outer half of the plate against a heavily right-handed lineup, 8 of the 9 bat from the right-hand side. What do they do about the rise ball?
Definitely keep their hands high in the zone. You want to keep your eyes also looking down in the zone.
A flare into left. Sullivan with a 1-out 3rd inning single as JMU's first hit of the afternoon.
Sullivan is strong with her barrel, keeps it high, finishes her swing, stays on plane with that rise ball, and is able to come up with the first hit of the day for James Madison.
Marissa Anderson to the circle to talk with her sophomore pitcher, joined by the catcher Hattie Moore. You know, they say in our digital day and age, this meeting could have been an email. That meeting could have been a text message. It was quick.
Oh, Kate Gordon, really, even though the result ended in a strikeout, had really battled in her first at-bat.
Well, she's 0 for 7 in the Super. And now 0 for 8 with that fly ball to Abby George.
She just has not been able to get on track. And that is a player that James Madison is counting on. You just get the feeling she's gonna, you know, break out. All good hitters just keep swinging. You know, good things happen. Right now for Kate Gordon, having a hard time.
Time is short and importance high. This will be somebody's final game of the season. Jubis, 1 of 3 to strike out. Gets weak contact as Bailey gets underneath, and the inning is over. First base hit for the Dukes. Nothing more. 1-0 Missouri with 2.5 in the books. This Super Regional has been centuries in the making.
Mike, I can always count on you for some fun facts. That's for sure.
I appreciate your optimism. Many would say, including the gentleman in the outfield, that they're not so fun. But James Madison is trying to get to the Women's College World Series for the first time. 2016, they were the number 7 national seed. They were within a game. Went 0-2 in 2019 in Supers. And the theme for them has been strength in the circle.
And just, you know, what they've been, they're one of very few teams in the country that can say they've been to the 3 of the last 5 super regionals, trying to break through and punch that ticket to the Women's College World Series.
We're back. From Miami to Chicago to Columbia, Missouri. Bottom of the 3rd, and Jenna Laird, who struck out against Alexander in the 1st. Just a little Sunday cat nap.
I mean, there's a lot of softball on TV now. You know, you're up late watching softball. You got to catch some sleep whenever you can.
UCLA defeating Virginia Tech late night. It was a 9:30 Eastern first pitch last night. You got to have energy all day today. We got 4 o'clock Eastern to start for Oklahoma State and Texas. Hard to ask for a better season to start off your career than for Jenna Laird, a freshman from East Meadow, New York, following in the footsteps of players like Montana Founts, Mia Davidson as the SEC Freshman of the Year, and just the 2nd Missouri player to win it in their short time in the SEC. They've only been in the league since 2013.
And what's impressive about Laird is she also plays a really challenging position, shortstop, to come in as a freshman and really command that position. A lot of decision making. And sometimes as a freshman, you can take that offense to your defense, and you know, you're having a tough day out in the field, take it to your offense. That does not happen with Jenna Laird.
A strikeout to start, a walk as the chaser for Laird. And they've got the lead off on in 2 of the first 3 frames.
We've seen more walks from Odyssey Alexander than we've really seen the entire season. You know, comes into this game just averaging less than 2 walks a game. We saw 4 in 1 inning on Friday night, 6 for that game.
Eight walks and 10 2/3 in the supers for Alexander. Hattie Moore gets under it, and it's Gordon with the sunglasses for the first out. It was a weird 7th inning in game number 1 for Alexander. The rain was coming down. It was super cold. It felt like early spring. She was trying to find the bottom of the strike zone. We thought some of those pitches were strikes. A lot of other people watching that game did too. And so far, a good rebound performance from her here today after yesterday. 1 2/3, 6 runs, but only 1 earned run. That game could have been very different for Alexander and the Dukes. And just in a 1-0 hole here. Kayla Kessinger, a swing and a miss. A very delayed throw down to second as Jenna Laird has her first stolen base since the first week of May. She's a perfect 12 for 12 this year.
Yeah, Burnett, the catcher, seemed a little bit surprised. She was caught off guard that Laird was running a very delayed transfer. Absolutely no chance to get Laird her 12th steal of the season.
Kessinger came through with a single out to right center in her first at bat. The full context on the walks from Alexander. 8 in the supers. Before that, more than 100 innings on the year, only 23 allowed.
Yeah, and what was most impressive about her as they earned that Game 1 win was her composure in that situation. You know, she felt like she had everything going against her. You know, the weather, and as you mentioned, the bottom of the strike zone. And I mean, you know, there were no hits in that inning, and yet Missouri was within one hit of walking the game off. And showing you her experience. Coach Lauren Laporte talks a lot about the fact that she has learned to embrace the hard this season. Embrace the hard. We saw that on Friday night.
Good chase pitch from Alexander. She picks up her 4th strikeout, 2 gone in the 3rd.
Number 17, third baseman, Kim.
Just tough when your team needs it the most. This pitch is tailing away from Kessinger. It's not a strike, but with 2 strikes, Kessinger has to protect. And that's probably what I've been the most impressed about Odyssey Alexander. You know, when her team needs her the most, when the lights are, you know, shining the brightest, that's when she has been at her best.
It's all coming full circle here for Kim Word, a native Virginian who got recruited by Mickey Dean to James Madison, ended up starting out her career at Hofstra, now in her 3rd season.
And the umpire has called a ball on Odyssey Alexander. It's a timing issue. You know, and by the time the ball gets back to the pitcher's circle, there's 10 seconds. The batter has to be in the box ready to go. Pitcher needs to be ready to throw the pitch. And Alexander does work at a slower tempo, a little bit more methodical. We saw it yesterday. And today, because of that timing issue, and Alexander not being ready to deliver the pitch on time, the penalty is a ball on the batter.
Well, we saw on at least one occasion yesterday, Larissa Anderson, Missouri's head coach, making an inquiry with the umpires about that exact timing issue. And now that it's been called once, it's in everybody's minds. And it's 3-0 to Wirt.
Well, the second base umpire's coming in to make sure that everybody's clear on the ruling, and Odyssey Alexander's saying, I've got the ruling, and gets ready to go. I mean, the emotions are high in this game, that you can feel the tension in the air here in Columbia. There is a lot at stake. One team is going home, their season's over, and the other team is going to be playing in a few days in Oklahoma City. Every pitch matters.
And here's the payoff pitch to Wirt. 3rd walk from Alexander and the 2nd in this inning.
We find ourselves once again in a moment in this game. You know, it could be a game changer. You go back, the course of the game, you go back and look at a couple plays that really change the trajectory of the game. Coach Morris goes out to talk to Odyssey Alexander, maybe feeling the same thing, but so far, despite the struggles of Alexander, the score's only a 1-run game. I mean, anything can happen, but with a couple walks in this inning, Missouri finds themselves on the verge of being able to extend that lead.
So the action begins in the bullpen, or perhaps is imminent, with Alyssa Humphrey, the freshman who pitched the majority of the game yesterday after Alexander ran into some trouble. Just waiting to see if she'll be needed. Ruby Morris, the pitching coach, made the visit back in the first base dugout. Cassidy Shomo with 2 out and 2 on. Odyssey
Alexander can just bring the heat. That pitch is in the upper 60s. And she can really move it through all parts of the zone, up, in, out. Very difficult for a hitter.
She can simply control a game. She was the CAA Rookie of the Year in 2017, then back-to-back Player of the Year. This year, the Pitcher of the Year. And in the league tournament, she struck out 16. And then against Liberty in the regional round, broke her own record and struck out 19. And right there, she gets her 5th strikeout. What a time to do it.
Absolutely spot on with her offense. This is an offensive team that's, you know, in the top 20 in the country in a lot of categories. Just coming into this game, just 7 hits in this super regional. The batting average below 150, and you know, they need to put some pressure on the Missouri pitchers, on the Missouri defense.
Well, it's certainly been a jump in competition as they've come to the NCAA postseason. In their league tournament, they outscored their opponents 32-0, and 10 of their 26 hits were home runs. It's not as though their path was easy, though, Carol, either, as they went 3-0 through their regional. All of those games featured a lot of runs.
Well, they had to battle Liberty, extra inning game, battle the host Tennessee. You know, this team beat a seeded host from the SEC in back-to-back weekends in Tennessee and then the first game against Missouri.
Alexander takes looking, strike 3.
James Madison has got to attack a little more on the offense. This pitch just floats through the zone from Jordan Weber. It's a little off-speed pitch. Haven't seen much of that from her. Picked the right time to sit down Odyssey Alexander.
Missouri this year pitched by committee. They didn't have a ton of complete games throughout the course of the regular season, but some switch has flipped here. With everything on the line, backs against the wall for the 2nd straight day, and Weber bringing her A game once again.
And working at a great tempo. I mean, just in rhythm. Working from ahead more times than not. And she has not thrown many balls in this game, just giving up the 1 walk. A real lively wrist, you know, to throw that rise ball. You got to have that loose, lively wrist. And she's able to control it, that release point, to throw it low, throw it high, throw it in, throw it out. And you look at that comparison there, 41 strikes to just 12 balls.
Chopper up the middle and through for Newton.
And the first ball we've seen hit on the ground today for James Madison. This one goes right back up the middle. And despite this game feeling like it's really being controlled by Missouri, Weber's been dealing in the circle, Wilmus with the home run, so Missouri's had the lead. We've had a lot of base runners, but this is still a 1-run ball game. James Madison has worked out of some tough innings on defense. Find themselves with the tying run at first base.
Madison Niokis, the CAA Defensive Player of the Year. We'll look to get some offense here. The redshirt senior from Chicago. JMU is going to have to break up what they've done so far in the first 2 games, with only putting runs on the board in the 7th inning of each of the first 2 games. Weber gets ahead in just a couple of pitches. And that time, Naokis a little early.
Yeah, we're seeing some better adjustments from James Madison this second time through the order. Swinging a little earlier in the count. And we just saw how many balls Jordan Weber's thrown in this game. You know she's going to come around the strike zone, so you want to get as many strike swings in as you can, swinging early, staying on top a little better.
On the ground at third, Wirt with a wet gem, but her throw to first gets away. Naokis tumbles to the ground after a collision, and Newton ends up at third base. A lot happened in the span of 3 seconds there. A tremendous pick from Wirt. Her throw pulled Robbie off the bag, and Naokis looks like she's shaking that off.
What a play by Wirt at the hot corner, but she rushes her throw a little bit, doesn't finish it, and ends up throwing the ball away into the first base dugout side. That's a very difficult play for Robbie to make with the runner coming down the line. And that runner's lane is a difficult thing. It's on the field. Coach Laporte wants to go over and talk to Naokis. There was a little bit of words exchanged after this play. We mentioned it earlier. A lot of emotions, a lot of tension is high. And so Coach Laporte went over to talk to Madison Naokis and really calm her down. Both coaches talking to their teams. I mean, there's a trip to the World Series on the line here. And that's half the battle, sometimes playing with emotion, but being able to control your emotions and not get emotional.
Naokis reaches first on an error on Kim Wirt, the third baseman. So she's charged on the errant throw. First and third, the first runner in scoring position today for JMU. The heart and soul of their ball club is Lindsay Meeks. She can get them on the board here. And now, Naokis had taken off on a trot for second base. She's caught up in a rundown. She slides in head first. She's got second. I'm not sure if that was deception or misperception. Nevertheless, she takes 60 feet.
Yeah, a little bit of a delayed steal, just trying to see if they can get Missouri, throw the ball around, and try and score Newton at third base, but they end up with a stolen base for Naokis.
Her 25th in 25 tries.
This is exactly the hitter James Madison wants up in this Super Regional. 2 hits so far for Lindsay Meeks. Drew the walk in the first inning.
Infield is in, guarding against Newton, trying to scamper home from third as Weber gets her first strike to Meeks.
And with the infield playing in, that opens up a lot of holes for Lindsay Meek. Really cuts down the range of the middle infield. Been so impressed with Meeks all weekend long. She is the heart and soul of the team. She's the first one getting the team fired up, first one congratulating the team, picking them up when they need it. She's backed it up with her performance, very determined.
She led their pregame huddle in front of the first base dugout and now can lead them by getting on the board. Not a surprise that it goes 3-2. She walked back in the second, her first plate appearance. Center field. Newton tags on the catch. Here she comes into the plate. She missed it the first time, gets it with the tag. And as that ball got away from Moore at home, Naokis goes to third. The game is tied at 1.
Lindsay Meeks has been stepping up this entire Super Regional for James Madison. And with the speed of Newton on the bases, and the throw is off. As you mentioned, missed the plate the first time, comes back. Brooke Wilmus can't quite get the direction where she wants it, and Hattie Moore almost makes a phenomenal play if she can hold on to that ball. But James Madison answers back. We have a tie ball game.
It's the first time in 3 games here in Columbia James Madison has scored outside of the 7th inning. 2 runs in the 7th Friday to win it. 1 that was far from enough yesterday. And there are 2 outs for the redshirt sophomore Hallie Hall, with Madison Naokis the go-ahead run at third base. Long and foul down the left field line. The feeling of a game controlled by Missouri that was a 1-run game has dissipated here. A base hit, an error, a sacrifice fly, and a stolen base for James Madison. Bailey to the grass, makes the catch, inning over. Game is tied at 1. We talk with Larissa Anderson, Missouri's head coach, when we return. Head coach of the Missouri Tigers, back-to-back record crowds here, another huge showing today. You're a win away from Oklahoma City. What has made your program thrive in the postseason?
I mean, it's playing for postseason. This is what they came here to do. I mean, this atmosphere is absolutely amazing. You know, it's tremendous. It's tremendous for the program. It's tremendous for softball. You know, everyone is just excited to be here.
Coach, your young pitching staff has really elevated their performance in the postseason. What do you attribute their success to here in the postseason?
It's just gaining information. I mean, nothing takes the place of the post-game experience, postseason experience, and every single opportunity that they've had, they're learning from, and they're really thriving in the moment.
Thanks, Coach.
My pleasure.
What kind of a response will there be here in the bottom of the 4th from Missouri against Odyssey Alexander? Mixed results thus far for the redshirt senior. 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 home run against the first batter of the day.
And Missouri has left 5 runners on base so far through just 3 innings, and that's been the difference.
Robbie pops to short. She is 0 for 2.
I mean, as you mentioned earlier, the feel of the game until the top of the 4th just felt all Missouri. And the big reason, you know, it was so important for James Madison to get out of that first inning, get out of the 3rd inning, and keep the score down to 1 run. That allowed them to come back and tie this game.
Kendall Bailey, one of a few players from Missouri who's going to be back for a 5th year next year. Redshirt junior from Green Valley, Missouri. They'll work toward her NBA next year. shallow center field. That's a long way to go for Nyokas across the dividing line of the second base bag, but she's got it for the second out.
I've been impressed with the middle infield of James Madison. Good range on the fly balls. Real soft hands. They've made some really nice plays defensively in the ground balls. Missouri comes in the top 10 in defense, but James Madison's in the top 20. These are two very solid defensive teams.
Abby George has reached 4 of her last 5 plate appearances, as Missouri faces a James Madison team that played far fewer games than most did coming into the postseason.
Well, look at the adjustment Lindsay Meeks has made. She's now almost halfway up the line. Last time Abby George hit her a routine, would look like a routine ground ball, but she's playing too deep for George's speed. So she's made that adjustment, playing up, trying to shorten the field even more. Taking that mentality, okay, you're gonna hit the ball past me, you can hit the ball past me, but if you put it in the dirt, I'm gonna try and position myself so I can throw you out.
Meeks is ready for anything, even a dead ball carom off the net. Missouri trying to get to the Women's College World Series for the first time in a decade. James Madison with eyes on their first trip. A skee ball is ball 2. Odyssey Alexander has not yet had a 1-2-3 inning today. Her best frame so far, the second. And Abby George had a 2-out single. And then Wilmes was retired to end the inning. 60th pitch of the day is strike 3 called. 1-2-3. She ends the inning with her 6th strikeout. And then Georgia, one of the unseeded teams remaining in the field, along with JMU, will see the winner of our second game today as a 4 Eastern first pitch between Texas and Oklahoma State. We've settled into a nail-biting affair here in the 5th inning in Columbia, Missouri. A slap up the middle. Lauren Burnett provides the second base hit from the bottom of the lineup today. She and Sullivan, who are coming up, have 2 of their 3 hits.
It's the bottom of the lineup that got it done in game 1. Just a good, quick, aggressive swing from Burnett. For the first time today, James Madison has their leadoff batter on base.
Kylie Tress into pinch run for Burnett, the catcher.
Is number 23, Kylie Tress.
And Larissa Anderson makes a visit to the circle after a leadoff single. It is to the bullpen for Lauren Krings. Pitches for the second straight game.
It's something they've been doing all season long, pitching by committee. And what a fantastic day she had yesterday. 10 strikeouts, no walks in the complete game win. Also is a power pitcher. We're going to work the ball up in the zone.
The 0-1, the bunt is down from Sullivan. And Wirt throws to Robbie, completing the sacrifice, moving Tress into scoring position at second base. representing a tie-breaking run, 1-1, top of the 5th, for the right to play in the Women's College World Series.
Quality at bat, gets the barrel in front of the plate, catches the ball, make sure it's in the dirt to advance Tress into scoring position. That's a quality at bat for the 9-batter, Michelle Sullivan.
th appearance of the year for Krings. Here she faces the top of the order against Gordon, who is hitless today, 0 for 2, and just 2 for 19 in the postseason. James Madison, a run in the 4th on a sacrifice fly, the second time they've scored that way. Single and a double. They've only got 2 extra base hits in the series. Both of them came yesterday in the 7th with a pair of doubles. Gordon chases. She strikes out for the second time. And Krings yesterday only had 1 3-ball count in the game. Picks up where she left off.
Gordon has not been able to get on track in this Super Regional. That's just pure power on the outside part of the plate. Throws it right by Gordon.
Jubis offered one of those 7th-inning doubles yesterday. And if she can come through with her second base hit of the series, could put the Dukes in front.
Postseason is all about that timely hitting. 2-out RBI. James Madison looking for one of those right now.
Everybody clap your hands.
Two strikes, 2 away in the top of the 5th. Krings out of Loveland, Colorado, north of Denver. On a warm afternoon in Columbia, Missouri. Looking to put this threat away. Instead, it's a liner back up the middle. It's a green light for Tress around third. The throw is airmailed to the backstop. James Madison has taken the lead. And in at third base, Jubis is safe. 2-1 JMU. The deficits few and far between for Missouri. James Madison had led for basically a half-inning all series. Bottom of the 7th in game number 1. Mizzou took the lead in the 2nd yesterday, the 1st today. So they've been in front almost for 2 days. Now, the story has been flipped.
Very uncharacteristic for Missouri. Missouri is the 7th-ranked team in the country in terms of team defensive fielding percentage. That's their 2nd error today. Their high on the year is 3 for a game, but it has come back to hurt them.
Krings behind 2-0 to Logan Newton. Not the type of change Larissa Anderson anticipated when she made this call to the bullpen.
And Credit to James Madison putting the ball in play outside of Kate Gordon. They've been able to hit the ball hard, make some things happen, force Missouri to play defense early in this game. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of fly ball outs. Now we're seeing much better contact from James Madison, forcing Missouri to make some plays.
Those were the adjustments at the plate Lauren Laporte was looking for. Once again, the Tigers are just a strike away from getting out of this inning. Payoff pitch, slow roller. It'll be close at first. Safe is the call as Newton beats out the throw from Krings.
Well, good things happen when you swing the bat. This is what I call a swinging bunt. And Krings couldn't have played it any better. Picked it up barehanded, got rid of the ball very quickly. And it is a very close play. Newton with the infield single. And that fires up Odyssey Alexander.
First and second with 2 out. Brings to Niokis. On the span of back-to-back batters, Krings has allowed as many hits as she did in the postseason prior to this appearance. On the ground to first, Robbie keeps it in front. That ends the inning. But James Madison, which has trailed for almost every inning of this series, now can feel a little bit better. Odyssey Alexander, once again, a catalyst. They're all smiles thinking about Oklahoma City. The Women's College World Series back in Oklahoma City. The action starts Thursday noon right here on ESPN. 100% capacity. For more information on how you can get tickets, ncaa.com/WCWS, as this event has grown, another venue as well.
You can't have enough seats right now as you take a look at the World Series Stadium. The second deck is ready for fans this season. Such a great venue. If you've never gone, it's on your bucket list. You've got to go. It is a feeling like none other to be in person at the Women's College World Series.
One of these teams will get to experience it. Missouri hoping to make their 7th trip, first since 2011. James Madison has never been before. Brooke Wilmus gave Missouri a 1-0 lead. Now they're down 3-1. This is just the second half inning that James Madison has led in the series. They won the opener 2-1. And dropped yesterday's game in the lopsided affair that featured 3 home runs from Missouri. Wilmus has now homered 5 times in 6 postseason games.
She's the catalyst to Missouri offense. They're going to make a comeback in this game. It starts with her.
Out to left, Gordon toward the line. Alexander has now set down 5 in a row. James Madison, an unseeded team here against the number 8 national seed. That's how this Super Regional has brought us here to Columbia, with Missouri earning the right to host. Georgia in as an unseeded team. Virginia Tech was a game away this year, but there hasn't been an unseeded team since USF and LSU in 2012.
This shows you what great parity we have in Division I softball right now. So many close games, extra inning games, the excitement. That's the fun of coming to the ballpark. You don't know what is going to happen.
Seeding began back in 2005, this current format. That's given a good ride out to deep left. A leap at the wall, and that ball's out of here. Jenna Laird with a home run makes it a one-run game. The lead for JMU is now just 3-2.
Jenna Laird, calm, cool, and collected, absolutely explodes at this ball, gets good elevation, just enough to get over a leaping Kate Gordon. This is what Missouri does. They score very quickly. They have power through the lineup, and they're now within one run of tying the game.
Through day one, this was the only super regional site out of 8 that had not seen a home run. Today, 2 for the Tigers. Addie Moore got it in on the hands and into the glove of Meeks, who inherits the second out. The Tigers now with 5 home runs between yesterday and today.
This is a very explosive team. You can never relax. When you're on defense playing against Missouri, they just score in bunches. They score with power. With one swing, they can change the scoreboard, as Jenna Laird just did.
Jubas side of the grass makes the catch. The inning is over. We've got an amalgamation of games 1 and 2 here today. A close one, day 1. Offensive explosion, day 2. And today, trail by a run. And James Madison, the visiting team here today in game number 3, yesterday's home team, will lead it off. And it's Lindsay Meeks to start. We're glad you're with us today. This is an absolutely thrilling day of college softball. This will be the 7th team into the Women's College World Series. The winner here, and the 8th and final will come in a few hours. A 4 Eastern time first pitch here on ESPN between Texas and Oklahoma State. Jordan Weber got the start for Missouri in the circle. Faced 1 batter in the 5th, so right now her total 4 innings, 3 hits, a couple of runs, 4 strikeouts and a walk. And Krings ran into some trouble as she finished off the 5th.
And a lot of credit goes to James Madison for putting the ball in play, some timely hitting, couple 2-out RBIs. Really what it takes in the postseason.
Two and 2 to Meeks, who's been the busiest of all on this James Madison roster. This is really the best time of the year because class is over. Degrees have been conferred. She's got her undergraduate degree, but already to work on her next one as she's enrolled in PT school at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. So she's trekked back and forth from Harrisonburg, Virginia to Athens to Knoxville to Harrisonburg again, and then got on the plane and ventured west here to Columbia. Payoff pitch to Meeks. So see another one.
And she's just had some impressive at-bats at this Super Regional. Drew a walk in her first at-bat today. The sac fly to get James Madison on the board and tie the game. Works this at-bat deep in the count. She's been doing it the entire Super Regional.
And with all of her travel, she was glad, as you would imagine the entire squad was, to forego a 13-hour drive across America from Harrisonburg to Columbia. They got a charter flight. Lauren Laporte so pleased with the support from their boosters, their administration, to allow them to do that. Second walk for Meeks today, and the excitement is palpable from the team leader.
They feed off her energy, and for the second inning in a row, James Madison gets the leadoff batter on base.
Running at first for Meeks, number 28, Hannah Hennessy.
So JMU, their lead, just a run, trimmed down. Hannah Hennessy, the freshman from Warwick, New York. The Hudson Valley comes in as a pinch runner. And it's Lauren Phillips who helped spark the offense on Friday night in that one-run victory for JMU here in the number 7 spot.
Trying to move another runner into scoring position. Missouri really playing first baseman back. It's up to Kim Wirt, Hattie Moore really field all the bunts for Missouri.
On the ground to third, throw to second. Beautifully done. Wirt to Bailey. The sacrifice try is thwarted.
And that's exactly why Missouri sets their defense. It's an inside pitch, so the bunt goes down right to Wirt. She shows you her cannon in getting the lead out.
A couple of mistakes defensively today for Mizzou. That was a gem. Liner down the right field line. That's trouble. It touches down for a base hit. Goes off of George's glove. Runners at second and third for James Madison here in the 6th with just one down.
Back-to-back hits for Burnett in her at-bats. Takes this one the opposite way, and it's not handled cleanly right away by Abby George, and that allows both runners to advance into scoring position. Some very uncharacteristically sloppy defense from the Missouri Tigers.
Michelle Sullivan at the plate, takes a strike. She's got Phillips at third, Burnett at second, and another Mizzou error on Abby George in right field. 3 today, ties a season high for the Tigers. 0-1, slow roller for Wirt. A glance at third, and she retires Sullivan 2 away.
Just what Missouri wanted, a little ground ball to the left side of the infield to hold the runners. But that, even that throw from Wirt was very close to getting away. That's got a little tail on her ball today. Robbie really saved a little disaster over there at first base.
Kate Gordon, 0 for 9 in this series, the best hitter in the lineup. 2 for 20 postseason. All would be forgotten if she can increase their lead here. She's hit 18 home runs this year. Way out in front. She just sticks the bat out, and it ricochets over to third. A promising ending. There's no fruit. The enthusiasm for softball here in Columbia is exceptional. Mike Cousins, Carol Bruggeman with you here, last of the 6th, with Missouri down by a run. The Tigers yesterday snapped a super regional losing streak that dated all the way back to 2012 against LSU as they fell in that series. And James Madison in a winner-take-all Game 3 for the second time in their postseason history, vying to visit Oklahoma City as one of the last 8 teams standing for the first time.
Everybody clap your hands. Check it out, y'all.
Carol Odyssey Alexander had thrown 519 pitches in the NCAA tournament coming into today. Just 70 thus far.
Well, they labored a little bit for the first few innings, but was able to hold Missouri to 1 run through the first 4 innings. And there is no doubt who the James Madison coaching staff is trusting in this moment with a trip to Oklahoma City on the line. You know, early in her career, Coach Laporte talked a lot about Alexander being able to manage her emotions, tight situations, and her maturity off the charts now, stays composed. As she said earlier, embracing the hard. She's learned how to manage those, what I would call stress innings. I don't think they get any more stress innings than what we're feeling right now. Mike?
This is it. There is a nervous anticipation, whatever the outcome will be. 1-run game. Mizzou will have last licks today. Two and two on Wirt leading it off after a couple of walks for her. She gets caught in between on a check swing. And she goes down with a soft pop-up to Nyokas at second.
As a power hitter, this is when you say, man, do-over, but there's no do-overs. It's an excuse me swing from Kim Wirt, and that is a gift for the James Madison defense as they retire the power hitter.
One down, Alex Honnold is the pinch hitter for Mizzou for the second time in this series. She's replacing Cassidy Shomo. 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. The player with that line today against Alexander.
Missouri has good depth, not only in the bullpen, but on their bench. A lot of hitters coming off the bench, able to do some things.
Alexander still crisp, 68 miles an hour. And James Madison, this is just their 41st game of the year. She missed about 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. Lauren Laporte said it really changed her perspective, having the game taken away for that time. She came back better than ever. Hard liner, right field, on the run! Newton makes the catch. They were playing deep, so she encroaches on out number 2.
Well, Missouri is the top pinch hitting team in the league, but Newt comes in and commits to making that catch right off the bat. There was no hesitation. It's one of the toughest plays to make for an outfielder, is a ball that's hit right at you. You know if it's tailing or rising. The big catch for Newton.
The bases are empty for Emma Robbie. Well, the stakes are high in a 3-2 game where any batter for Missouri can represent the tying run. Even at the bottom part of this lineup, she's their 7th hitter. She's got 9 home runs.
We haven't seen any free passes from Alexander in the last 2 innings. And 2/3 of the way here through the 6th after giving up 3 walks in the first 3 innings.
Having the lead probably helps a little bit for the psyche.
And with Missouri's power and their ability to drive extra base hits, home runs, eliminating those free passes is so important. You know, Missouri has 2 home runs today, both solo shots, because it's been no one on before.
The walk is back. And the 4th for Alexander. The last 4 innings, there's only been 1 Mizzou base hit. That was Laird's solo home run out to left field. And Robbie comes out. Hannah McGivern pinch running at first base. Representing the tying run as Kendall Bailey comes to the plate as Mizzou's possible go-ahead run. Alexander never rattled in this series. Rain on Friday. Yesterday, just an inning and 2/3. And today, the season on the line. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kendall Bailey.
Just another play from Burnett behind the dish. She has made some really nice throws, blocks. That time shows you her vertical jump saved the ball from going to the backstop.
Opposite ends of the battery. Freshman catcher, redshirt senior pitcher for the Dukes. Infield is back here with 2 down. The 1-2, pop to first. Shiflett squeezes, and the inning is over. A trip to the Women's College World Series. We go back to the first. Brooke Wilmus leading off for Mizzou. Her 13th home run of the year, 5th home run in 6 games in the postseason. But James Madison today would not be held silent in the first 6 innings.
Comes right back, gets 2 runs in the 5th inning, answers. And then it was Jenna Laird with another solo shot for Missouri. And that's where we are with our score, 3-2 entering the 7th inning.
Sarah Jubas leads off for James Madison. An RBI single for her in the 5th. She rips this into left field. 2 for 4 for Jubas, who has doubled her hit total from the last 2 days in her last 2 at-bats.
And after nothing doing for James Madison in the first part of this game, this is the 3rd consecutive inning they've had a leadoff batter on base.
One of these teams will be moving on to the Women's College World Series. That'll be the 7th in the field of 8. 4 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN. It's Texas and Oklahoma State for the final spot in Oklahoma City, Carol.
I mean, when you get to this game, when you get to this if game, you can just feel it. And looking ahead, here's some questions. Can Georgia continue their run? I mean, Georgia was 2-13 ending the regular season. They are 5-0 in the postseason. And can anyone stop Oklahoma's offense? 146 home runs. I'm sure Montana Fouts and company have something to say about that.
Well, depending how deep the run is for Oklahoma, they could tie or set a new NCAA Division I record for single-season home runs. It's 158 done by Hawaii back in 2010. Oklahoma offensively, runs scored, runs batted in, home runs, basically lapped everybody else. Carol, you and I saw Miami, Ohio out of the MAC in the regional round in Lexington, Kentucky. They were the second highest scoring team in the country. They scored almost 100 fewer runs than Oklahoma did.
Yeah, just what Oklahoma's been able to do. I mean, talk about doing damage at the plate. It's very impressive.
Home runs are supposed to be a spectacle, not a routine thing, and yet the Sooners have made it that this year. More than 2,600 packed in to watch this decisive game. Alexander looking for her second hit of the afternoon.
James Madison does not have a slapper in their lineup. They've gone to the sacrifice bunt a few times today, but in general, that's not really their game. They are usually swinging away, and certainly in this part of the lineup, no short game action at all.
The last few have not been potent offerings from Alexander, but enough to keep the at-bat enduring. This one lined into right field, a base hit. Jubas trying to go first to third. She's there as the throw is cut off by Laird. Runners at the corners, nobody out for the Dukes.
What an at-bat by Odyssey Alexander. Fouled off pitch after pitch after pitch until she found something she could drive the opposite way. And Jubas, with no hesitation, goes first to third easily.
Alexander said after the game on Friday night, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it to get us to Oklahoma City. She's been living that mantra today. Logan Newton, 2 for 3. Starts with a ball.
Well, and this is where another run. Been in this situation before. If you can add to this lead, a one-run deficit, especially against a team like Missouri in the 7th, does not seem insurmountable. But if James Madison can add to the lead.
Hard line drive, deep to right, off the top of the wall. Jubas scores. James Madison doubling up Missouri 4-2 on Logan Newton's RBI single.
That's 3 hits in a row for James Madison. She takes this low pitch down in the zone and absolutely turns on it, pulls the ball deep, almost hits it out of the park. And James Madison adds to that lead, that ever-important 2-run lead now in the 7th inning.
Looks in the inning. They like her against left-handed batters. But the only one in the James Madison lineup just had an RBI single. Logan Newton standing at first. The Dukes are within 3 outs of their first trip to the Women's College World Series. They've knocked Jordan Weber out. Frings followed her. Nichols 1-1 to Madison Niokas, who's 0 for 3. On the ground, shortstop Laird throws home the tag, and the call is safe at home. Alexander is in. As close as you can get. It's 5-2. What's your initial reaction, Karen?
Madison continues to stay aggressive. This ball's hit right at Jenna Laird, throws a perfect strike to Hattie Moore, does tag her on the backside, and Alexander slides her hand around the tag. Looks like Hattie Moore got her before Alexander's hand gets to the plate.
She should be out. Looks like a missed call at home plate.
Swipe tag by Moore, very quick, low to the ground, gets her on the backside before the hand of Alexander gets to the plate.
Now first and second for JMU. As the gap grows larger, 5-2. Marissa Anderson with good reason to be disgruntled on a bang-bang call at home plate. Meeks is quite content to let a few pitches go by before she gets the right one.
A lot of times when you see Missouri on the field, you know, they're the team that's got double-digit hits pretty quickly. And you look up at the scoreboard, and James Madison is the team with double-digit hits. Just 4 so far for Missouri. And James Madison's had the majority of their hits here in the last half of the game.
Meeks trying to bunt. Count goes even 2-2. The 7th inning, there's been something magic about it for James Madison. In the first 6 innings, over every game in this series, 3 runs. 5 of their runs have come in the 7th.
And you can see what it means for Missouri when their offense is clicking. 35-4 when they out-hit the opponent, but just 5-11 when they are out-hit.
Meeks, a sinking single into center field. The Dukes have the bases loaded. Their best half inning of the series has been saved for last.
Player number 15, Emily Phillips.
And when you have the majority of your lineup hitting, I mean, they're doing this without Kate Gordon. Kate Gordon has been struggling this entire Super Regional without a hit, yet James Madison has 11 hits on the board today, looking for more. Still no outs in this 7th inning.
Emily Phillips. How about the day for Meeks? She singles here in the 7th, draws 2 walks, also has a sacrifice fly, playing great defense at third, contributing in every way possible.
Been so impressed with her throughout this entire Super Regional. On top of all that, she gives their team energy day in and day out.
Down the line, deep to left, and it's off the wall. It nets a run for James Madison. Emily Phillips makes it 6-2.
James Madison is passing the bat, hit after hit after hit. Doesn't matter who's in the order, and Hallie Hall gets all of this ball, just missing a grand slam. James Madison continues to score in the 7th inning.
No out, 3 on.
And typically when Emma Nichols comes in a game, you know, a lot of ground balls. We saw the first ground ball go to Laird. And after that, the ball's been hit to the outfield against Emma Nichols, who's really a drop ball specialist. That's what Missouri's looking for right now, keeping something in the infield. Get this elusive first out of the inning for the Missouri defense.
Carol, how different did the first 4 innings of this game feel?
Completely different. Just 2 different games. And
on the ground, shortstop, Laird to third. They retire Meeks. Concede another run, 7-2, James Madison. Niokis scores the 7th for the Dukes. Phillips goes to second, and Burnett reaches for the 3rd time. A 5-run deficit. James Madison on the verge of their first trip to the Women's College World Series. Missouri has not been in a decade, and the feeling may be slipping as they'll be down at least by 5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. This is Michelle Sullivan, the 9-hitter in the order, and the 8th batter of the inning for JMU.
I think what's the most impressive thing about the second half of this game is James Madison has 12 hits. They have earned it. They have been swinging up and down the lineup.
A bloop to second, a diving try by Bailey. She didn't make the catch. She gets the force at second, throws to third, and that's a double play. A mistake made good on a ball that got away from Bailey, but her awareness was at 100 and she finishes it off.
Good effort here by the second baseman, Bailey, but because it gets away from her, very unconventional double play. Missouri needs 5 to stay alive.
One rewarding performance. Who else for James Madison but Odyssey Alexander?
Odyssey Alexander is dealing in the circle, has held Missouri to just 2 solo home runs through 6 innings, and she's been doing it all for her team. Also an RBI single earlier in the game, and she has her team 3 outs from punching their tickets to Oklahoma City.
She's come back today and proven that yesterday was assuredly the anomaly. Just an inning and 2/3. She allowed 6 runs in the 7-1 defeat, and the offense, 7 hits, 3 runs in the first 2 games for James Madison. Today, 7 runs, 12 hits, and they are 3 outs away from being the 7th team in the 8-team Women's College World Series field. Texas and Oklahoma State will decide the 8th team into the field. First pitch, 4 Eastern here on ESPN after the soccer friendly. Abby George, off the bat, a foul, strike 1.
Well, the story for Missouri all season long has been their offense. They have power up and down the lineup, but it starts with a base hit. Just getting 1 runner on base. Trying to do a lot what James Madison did in the last inning. Pass the bat, hand it down the line. We saw them score 6 runs in 1 inning yesterday. This team is very capable.
Alexander's 0-2 is fouled by a few feet down the line. James Madison is trying to defy the odds. Since seeding began in 2005, we went to this current format. 113 of the 120 teams to reach Oklahoma City were seeded. It hadn't happened since 2012. Georgia has already done it this year. JMU could be next. Meeks, 1 away. 2012, South Florida and LSU did it. Virginia Tech, their only Women's College World Series appearance back in 2008. They see 2 this year as well. This is where the power comes back into the lineup. Everybody 1 through 5 has at least 7 home runs this year for Mizzou. Almost had Mizzou feeling good in the first. Solo home run. Not enough since then offensively. And James Madison is 1 out away from the Women's College World Series.
Coach Laporte continued to hammer home, we belong. We can compete with anyone in the country. We are ready for this moment.
Was there a doubt? Yes. Was there uncertainty? Yes. Can they erase that all? Yes. A freshman at the plate with the season in the balance. It's Jenna Laird.
James Madison knocked out Tennessee, seeded team on the road at their place. Earned a berth into this super regional. Facing the number 8 seeded Missouri Tigers. They are one out away from back-to-back victories.
It's 2-2.
And all that says to me is there is so much parity in college softball right now. So many great players, great programs, great coaching.
One strike away for Alexander to go the distance. The 2-2. Laird continues the fight.
And your team needs a leader when you get to this point in the postseason, kind of carry you through. And Odyssey Alexander has been that for James Madison in the circle.
How fitting to be a full count to what may be the last batter of the season for the Tigers in what has been a phenomenal super regional here in Columbia. Alexander's payoff pitch won't be her last. Laird continues to stroke them out of play. Nervous expectation careers hang in the balance in the other dugout. After last season's abrupt cancellation, nobody knew if there would be a postseason, let alone if they'd get here. And now the Dukes are a pitch away. Laird takes first. Fifth walk of the afternoon from Alexander. Gives the Tigers life in the last of the seventh. It was a long wait for Hattie Moore, the senior catcher. Their team down 5. They got to put some pieces together here.
And Hattie Moore has had some good at-bats today. Doesn't have a hit, but has just been missing in terms of the power department.
They had knocked on this door before, reaching the final game of a Super Regional once previously, and now there are 7 teams in the Women's College World Series, with one game yet to be played later on today. Welcome to Oklahoma City. The Dukes have the Sooners Thursday at noon.
And for James Madison today, it was a team effort. It's going to take every bit of that team effort against #1 Oklahoma, but all smiles, all good energy right now from James Madison.
They're going to go into Oklahoma City with just 2 blemishes on their record. 1 in March, 1 yesterday. But proving against a team from one of the best leagues in college softball, they can hang with the best. They played through the rain on Friday to a 1-run victory. Odyssey Alexander was there from start to finish. They got blown out last night and today come back and they are on to Oklahoma City for the first time. For our crew, my partner, Kara Bruggeman, I'm Mike Cousins saying thanks for watching. So long. Soccer is next here on ESPN.